crazy. We have been virtually for, what is it, 7 months now, 8 months? Where are we at, Kelsey? I lose train of thought.
I think we're at 7.
7. Okay. I knew it was around there somewhere. I was trying to do the math in my head real quick, and then like I can do math in my head, but the months deal, like I was trying to combine words with numbers, and it just wasn't working out in my mind. But yeah, I want to say just thank you all for coming and attending, and it means the world to us to have you all here as we talk about building community virtually. My name is Dantrell Smith. I serve as the coordinator for the Intercultural Network at the Trinity River campus. Been with TCC for will be 3 years next month. That's crazy. Yeah, 3 years next month. And so thoroughly enjoyed my experience. Love working with the people here. Have truly bonded with working with Kelsey, and just excited about the opportunity that we have with this project. And so I'll allow her to introduce herself.
Well, hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am Kelsey Bratcher. I'm the coordinator of student activities for the campus. And I'm surprised that Dantrell didn't share that he thinks that Memphis barbecue is the best barbecue. But I grew up in West Texas, so I think that West Texas barbecue is the best. I've also been at TCC for about 3 years, and have truly enjoyed connecting with the students. And I know that it's been a little bit different, or okay, honestly, it's been a lot different with us being work from home. However, I stepped back and I cried a little bit about it, but then I stopped crying about it and decided to take it by the reins and expand my creativity and see what we could do about planning events, virtual events for students to keep them engaged. So it's a roller coaster, but we're all learning. And Dantrell and I have been working on this project for several months now. And so it's definitely been something great. And I think that it's become more than what we even thought of in the very beginning. So welcome, glad that y'all are here. And I see that there's a few other people who have joined us as well. So welcome.
Yeah, so before we dive in, since we're such a small knit group, why don't we have, if you feel comfortable, just turn on your mic and introduce yourself, tell us a little bit who you are, and maybe one thing that you hope to learn from this particular session. So that way to ensure that we are touching on all the things that you all are wanting to take away, and make sure that we address those. So if you want to come on, or if you don't feel comfortable, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat.
Good doctor, I'm always one to follow instructions. So I just wanted to introduce myself, Carter Bedford, work at Trinity River, and just wanted to hear more about the Real People, Real Stories and the Storytelling Initiative, with you all being over 40 episodes now. And so a big fan, and just wanted to hear more about some of the behind the scenes.
Thanks. Who's next?
River campus. It's my 4th year. I'm here to really know how to be storytelling and make a community. I feel like I was able to do okay in a face-to-face class, but being virtual, I feel I'm missing something big. So I really want to learn ways to make that learning community in my class.
Right, we will address that. Thank you. Anyone else? I'm not saying you have to. Don't feel pressured, but we just want to make sure that we address everything. And I hate those workshops you go to and you're like, it's going to be this, and then you're in there and you're like, well, I'm hoping to learn this, and then you walk out like, man, I didn't learn nothing. So please, if you think of anything throughout the presentation, just make sure that you let us know, or just ask questions, and we'll stop and answer them. All right, next slide. Ooh. So to give you a roadmap, give you a roadmap for our presentation today. It's the agenda set up in the form of a story, which we think is just kind of adequate for what we're trying to share with you all today. So we've done introductions, the journey. So we'll talk a little bit about the behind the scenes that Carter Bedford had asked, kind of how we got set up, the purpose behind the reason why we're doing what we're doing. We'll talk a little bit about feedback that we've received from students, from faculty, from staff who have participated in this initiative. We'll dive into next steps and where we're going and what we're looking to do to take this project to the next level. And then we have some challenges for our audience participants. So kind of an activity to get you all engaged, but then also to start thinking about how you can utilize this platform or maybe in another platform in a different form to engage with your students or your staff members. And then we'll jump into questions.
Okay, so real people, real stories. There's a story, of course, of how we got started. And while my story and perspective may vary a little bit from Dantrell's perspective, that's just our story and how we got together. So we want to share a little bit with how we started this journey. And as we were talking, getting started about working at home, being disconnected from students, because Dantrell and I, and of course some of you as faculty, your jobs are to be right there and be absolutely connected with the students face to face. And when you send us home and we are now disconnected from the students, and that means that the students may feel disconnected to us and that they don't know necessarily where to turn. This summer, lots of things have been going on. Not only have we had with our race relations, we've had politics, we've had COVID, we've had all kinds of things happening over the summer. And so Dantrell and I were participating in a webinar, and they were talking about story and how storytelling brings people together and helps to develop community because you're learning about each other. And so we were texting each other on the side while we were in this webinar, about the different things that they were saying. And he calls me at the end and he's like, "Hey, I have this idea." And I'm like, "Great." He called me this time, so I know real as opposed to just a text or a message in Microsoft Teams. And so that when Dantrell's calling me, he's serious and he's like, "I really want to take this idea on." And so he's like, "Let's go to Instagram and let's do live sessions." The students are on Instagram right now. There's DJs and other performers right now connecting with people on Instagram Live. So why don't we do that? That's where they are. Let's do this. And so, while I didn't really lose my Cheerios like this says in the PowerPoint, I was very excited and ready to take on the challenge. So, Dantrell, you want to share any of your side of the story, or did I get it okay?
You did. I will add to it though. Kelsey is right. Whenever I call somebody, it's because I have this huge idea. And the beauty of working with you, Kelsey, is that you are able to help me to formulate the idea into a very structural way that I think is very beneficial for the population that we were trying to address. And so I just appreciate you in taking that idea and helping me to bring it to fruition. So, yep, it was a strange call. And she was like, "Wait, what?" So just like Kelsey said, choosing the right platform. I know you all are like, well, how'd you all get to Instagram? Why select Instagram? Why not Facebook? Why not Snapchat? Why not, all the other platforms, Blackboard, whatever. So one of the things that Kelsey and I did, we did just a couple of questions with some of our student workers, along with some other students that we engage on a daily basis in our offices, and we just kind of asked them, what platforms are you on? Kind of where are you in terms of social media? Do you all would like to use Blackboard as a forum to chat and talk? And so a lot of our students share this. Well, Blackboard always has issues. I'm trying to log on, and then if I'm on Blackboard, there's too many people in the room. It just crashes, and then I'm always on there for classes. So I'm looking for something a little bit different. And we're like, okay, well, not Blackboard. So, what other platforms? They said, well, what about Facebook? And so they said, well, my mom or my dad's on Facebook, so I don't really go on Facebook because that's their generational platform. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, now I feel old because I'm on Facebook. But so then the question came up about Instagram. And so they said, yes. They said, I'm always on Instagram. It's definitely a platform that I use on a consistent basis. Therefore, I would say is the best way to reach us. And so the Intercultural Network student staff, when we transitioned to working from home, had this great idea and said, hey, Dr. D, we want to do different types of workshops and sessions on Instagram. And I was like, well, at that time, I was very unfamiliar with Instagram, and I don't even think I had an Instagram account. Or maybe I did, but I never posted anything on there because I didn't really understand how to use it. So they taught me how to use it, but then watching them and seeing the reactions that they received from students when they were hosting different types of real discussions was magical. And I was like, yes, we have to use this. And so just like Kelsey said, when we were in that session, and I said, well, we got to use Instagram as the platform. That's where we have to take it. And, I think at that present time, and Kelsey, please jump in, there was a lot of red tape, particularly trying to create an Instagram account from TCC. But one of the things that we learned through the process is that if the students are the ones that create the account, then it's supported and no longer dealing with red tape. But Kelsey, you want to maybe add to that? You say it so eloquently. I want to say something else, but I can't.
Yes, it is preferred that departments do not have their own Instagram social media accounts. Part of that is, just keeping up with the look and the image of TCC. And so there is, that behind it, and that, if the students are creating it, that's one thing. And so the students were definitely leading that for the Intercultural Network, like Dantrell was saying. And so that's exciting that's something that they wanted, and we were able to help support them in that and let them have some of their own activities and live sessions as well, intertwined with what we're doing. And so that's where the students are. You could talk to students now, and sometimes, like, if you ask them about being engaged and being involved outside of the classroom right now, that they want to participate in things that don't look like a class, that don't look like a lecture. They want to be able to have the opportunity to ask questions, to be able to connect with others, and it just being in a more freeing environment. And that's definitely what we get with Instagram and being able to do that. There's also been some other webinars and sessions that I've participated in that have showcased other professionals in higher education. There's been presidents, there's been vice presidents, deans, instructors who have more of a presence on Instagram, on social media now in order to stay connected in a way with students. And so they're utilizing it that way. So they've also had to learn about utilizing Instagram or utilizing a social media platform where their students are in order to connect outside of the classroom and off campus. And they have seen that the number of students connecting with them has increased and that they're feeling more comfortable and the students are feeling more valued from that. And so that was also an interesting aspect of being visible on social media as a professional in higher education. I know sometimes we're like, oh, we don't want them in our personal accounts and to see, you know, that what we're doing at home, but now we're at home 24/7. And so everybody sees things about my dog.
Right.
And so she may show up. You hear her groaning in the background now. But yeah, so that's a little bit about Instagram and how you can definitely utilize that to connect with students outside the classroom and why we chose it. And let's see. Sorry, I'm multitasking the little arrows here. So we had to create something. We had an idea, but of course you have to have a name and start to organize what it is that you're going to do. And throughout our discussion, we decided on community, real people, real stories to define the project because we're telling stories, trying to get other people to tell their stories, to learn more about them. And so we're talking to real people. We're asking them real questions, and the guests can share as much or as little, get as detailed or not as they desire, understanding that it is a recording, that there are people watching it, and so they have the freedom to go deep or not, just depending on how they want to be able to connect with others. We wanted it to be something that evolved around the storytelling, something that evolved around community. And we know that in the short time that we do the Instagram Live, that you can't know everything about a person. Heck, I mean, you could know a person for 5-10 years and still not know everything about them. And so, you know, it's just a way to start the conversation for us to start building our community and understanding the people who we work with, who are a part of TCC, who are in our classrooms, who are in Fort Worth, who are in Tarrant County, and beyond. And so it's just a way to really bring people together. We wanted to be consistent when we are having our live sessions. And part of that is because the students are used to a schedule. It also helped for us because this was in the summertime that we were starting this. So we wanted to find a time that people would log in, who would be on social media, who would log in and who would watch and participate even in the chat portion of it. And so we selected the Tuesdays and Thursdays because in the summertime we weren't on Fridays. Plus Fridays and Mondays are kind of those, we're trying to either catch up and finish what's going on for the week, or we're trying to prepare and sleep in. We dread Mondays. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we were doing 10 and 4 both days, keeping it consistent so that they would get into a regular pattern just like their classes.
And Kelsey's very modest. She came up with the name. Like I was like, let's just build community. And she was like, well, that's the object, yes, but what's the name? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. What are you thinking? And she just said, she texted me, she said, real people, real stories. And I was like, all right, let's roll with it. Sounds good to me. And it's been a huge success, and definitely has been branded and across the district. And so a lot of people know about it, which has been good. So the selection process. So some of the behind the scenes question that we received was, how did you select your participants? When we first started this project, that was one of the questions that Kelsey asked me. She said, well, who are we going to get to be on here? And so in my particular role, in my position, I have the opportunity to connect with a lot of faculty and staff and students. And so in those conversations that I have with them, each of them kind of shared a little bit or a piece of their story of how they transitioned to the job that they're in or the school of their choice or the things that they had to overcome in childhood. And so when we first started out, it was let me contact these specific individuals because I know for a fact they have a story and their story truly inspired me and touched me in a way that I feel like it should be shared with the entire community. And so the next question Kelsey asked me, she said, okay, well, what are the questions that we're going to have going? I was like, golly, Kelsey, you making me do too much work. so um, so we did some research and just kind of sought other entities or institutions that were doing some similar things, but not necessarily specific to us because none of them were really using Instagram for that particular platform. But did some research, talked with some colleagues, and we ourselves talked about, what questions will be enough, general, but still be specific enough to be able to dive in and get to the story and be able to tell it in a way that's very touching to our community. And so we just put a list of questions together, had them flow in a correct order that we felt were the best way to ask those questions, and we rolled with it. We really just decided to just roll with it. And so, kind of what started happening. You can see here, these are some quotes from some students and one of our community partners, which we expanded upon. When we first started out, we just had faculty, staff, and students. Particularly, we were focusing on students because we wanted to give them a platform to really talk about and share some of the challenges that they're facing in this present normal, along with giving them a platform to address some of the social injustices that they're seeing on television. And so stuff just started coming out, and Kelsey and her team, kudos to her again, because they actually drafted and put together an image that captured that particular segment. Something that I'm not good at all, but being able to pull out the specific quotes from each interview, something that really defines that individual, but also can give motivation to others. So those are some of the quotes that you see there from those particular individuals. And the show just really took off. And so we started out faculty, staff, and students. The next segment, we invited community partners because, like I said, in my role, I have the opportunity to connect with a variety of different people. And so I sit on some community advisory boards. And so did the invitation to them. They flooded our emails and was like, yes, we want to come on the show. We want to connect with students. We want to talk to them about all the different services that we offer and that they can take advantage of. And so from that point on, I think we really knew that we had something special. Kelsey, you muted. Kelsey, you muted. There you go.
This is multi things open, and I'm like, I had it. Sorry. So what Dantrell was saying about being connected with the community, and I was really impressed when we even had a Fort Worth police officer be able to come on and be part of the show. We have had just a variety of people, and the fact that they were free to share what they had going on, so that way someone who's either watching it live or watching it later can learn something about that person, agree or disagree in a civil way, and just to learn. And that's how we start to build community, to be able to let people express and answer those questions. And so we put on our magazine reporter hats as we're trying to get to know people. And some of the students have shared that their participation, that it's almost been a little therapeutic in a way for them to be able to come and talk to us and be in a comfortable to answer the questions that we had put together for them. And so you've seen these little snippets, and you've heard us talk about how to get started. Have any of you who are here with us today, have y'all watched or seen any of our episodes, either live or gone back to the Intercultural Network Instagram? Have any of you seen any of the episodes? Carter is going to say, I was a guest. And he's seen some live and recorded. Anyone else, or is this all like absolutely new? Okay. Awesome.
Cool. That's awesome.
Well, we are going to give you the opportunity to watch and then one of the episodes, and then you'll get to come back and kind of discuss and share. So I will say that whenever we get started on the live episode, both Dantrell and I come on and talk. We just kind of start to, that helps fill and get people to join our episode. It alerts the Instagram community about us going live. And so we talk for a few minutes. We talk about things that are going on and just kind of get things started. And then one of us will leave, and then we'll bring on the guest. And so you can fast forward through one of these episodes. What you'll do, Dantrell has put the link to our Padlet here. And so this is our collection of all of our episodes. And so you can actually keep this link if you're interested, and you can share it with others, or you can just hold on to it and access the other episodes later. But you can click on where it says watch the episode on Intercultural Network's IGTV here, and you can watch that episode. So if you see a quote or if you see a name that looks familiar, then you can click on that one, and then you can definitely fast forward past what Dantrell and I say. That way you can watch a portion of the interview. We're going to allow you to have, how long do you think, Dantrell? You think 7 minutes?
Yeah, I think I was going to say 7 minutes. You read my mind, girl.
See? So we're going to give you 7 minutes to click over and watch one of the episodes, and then you can stay on Teams as well. You should be able to do both. And so we'll let you know when we come back, and we'll continue the discussion. We want to hear your feedback.
So 140.
Yes, 140 back here. And you don't have to have an Instagram account. Hopefully everyone is finishing up. I'm going to put a note in the chat so that way it'll alert others as well.
All right.
Yes,
Yeah,
Carter, we're at like 47 episodes, I think, is where we are.
I lose count.
That's how many were on the Padlet. Yeah.
I love them. And then if you explore like the backgrounds of them, they start to change based on kind of the themes that we were going along with in our conversations. So like there were our summer ones that we started out with, and then as we moved to student success and student talent, getting involved, Hispanic Heritage Month, they start to change and design a little bit. Just one of those small organized things, I guess. Okay, so hopefully those that I see you here, who would like to share with us which episode you watched, why you selected it, and what you thought about it?
And don't be shy.
That's right.
I'll jump in very quickly because I need to call someone back because I'm getting messages. I put a message in the chat as we were coming back, and I watched Christina Lara and her episode, and so of course we just had limited time, so just kind of skipping through some of her comments. But the thing that caught me was she credited staff, of course you, Kelsey, and then Eddie Brassard, with seeing something inside of her. And I think her quote was bringing the Christina out of me, which she is Christina, but actually bringing that person out. And, that's always good to see when students have those transformational moments in people who help them find something in themselves. And so, just kind of knowing her from when she started working at the Idea Store to see her being more involved and to see her be a little bit more outspoken with things she does and the way she expresses herself. That was just heartwarming, and just kind of hearing a little crack in her voice, and I was like, man, Christina gonna have me crying at 1 o'clock, on a Thursday or whatever. So I definitely have to go back and watch it, and just shoot her a message of encouragement. So that was the one I checked out there. So glad to see her face and to hear her voice on there.
And I'll say this, Carter, you brought up a really good point that made me think about the actual videos that we do. Because we're videos and they're recorded, you can go back and watch them. And so like for those people that, just you're having that down day where you're like, if I don't connect with students in some type of way or fashion, like I'm just going to lose it. And so the best part about this, and Kelsey and I go back and just kind of not read through, we listen to them. We listen to them because we want to see how much we can improve upon our talking points. But two, I know, and Kelsey feels the same way. It's actually kind of therapeutic for us when we have those down days and we just say, hey, we just need to hear a familiar voice, and to visualize and be able to see it takes you back, and you're like, okay. All right, I can get through this and I can move on. And so I appreciate you saying that, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Any others? See, we've lost some people. Were we supposed to end by a certain time? Are we over time or?
No.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
All right. So I watched Tracy's. So it was just I saw her name and then I thought I was just curious about it. I did not watch the whole thing, but the best thing was how she was saying that while she is struggling to find a balance between her studies, work, and all that, making connection with the faculty helped her. And what I took away from that was she was able to approach the faculty who were human to her. They weren't talking just about assignments and due dates, but she was able to feel with some faculty that they are really humans and she was able to connect, and that mattered. And that was the takeaway for me from that 5 minutes I watched. So, because I always want to connect with my students, I
Right.
think just being human and sharing a little bit about ourselves and what we are going through that day, I think that helps let our students connect with us. So that was really neat.
Yeah, I love what you said, and another thing that made me think about it is even during this downtime where we may not be able to connect with students in the ways that we normally would or have as much engagement. But and Kelsey and I will talk about this a little on in the presentation, but being able to connect with the other faculty and staff, I think has given us a different perspective on their specific role in the bigger picture of making things happen, if that makes any sense. And so being able to build that community with them, have dialogue and conversations with them has prepared or equipped me with more tools to be able to effectively engage with our students. And so I know it's been good in that realm for myself.
Yeah, I totally agree. Honestly, like, we are the very close proximity to our students. Like they come to our classes, so we are the one we can, if we can get to them closer, like we are the ones so close, a close proximity to them.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I look forward to like hear more and then yeah, learn what their stories are. I'm curious about it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time to watch and, of course, share about your first impressions off of that. And I think that, like Dantrell and Carter had shared that's Dantrell and I always looked forward to Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 and 4. And so now, that we're just Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4, it's like something that we look forward to, that no matter how nuts Monday and Tuesday would have been, that being able to connect with whoever our guest was, it was exciting and it gave us some additional adrenaline. And it was a way for us to learn something new and to connect with others and to see people also discussing. And with a lot of our student ones, our student videos are the most watched. If we go back and look at the numbers, that people are really wanting to connect with the students. And so I find that very interesting that our videos have views of 25 to over 100 views, and the highest ones are definitely of our students. They're really connecting with them there. And so for them to be able to hear things and relate to, oh, you're struggling with that. Well, I'm struggling with that too. And we talk a lot about having an outlet to talk, and whether that's seeking professional assistance through a counselor, or if it's talking with someone or journaling or working out, that comes up a lot. And so we can really see and learn what it is that our students are needing also, and that helps us do our job as well. And so there's multifacets behind that. And so why is it that we continue? One, it's fun. It's a great way to connect with others, but really it's the impact that we're making, not only at TCC, but in the lives of others. And so you can see that, like Carter was mentioning through Christina, our student, that he watched her video, that she was able to see the difference for her to talk about her growth while at TCC. And so it's just being able to connect the stories of the individuals to build our community. It's being able to inspire others and help coach others in a way to start conversations with people that they don't know. And do you see that, others that are administrators, that are staff members and students, and what they're saying? And so hopefully you can see that on the screen. I don't like reading screens, but that it's a great way to connect with students, that it's really cool, and that I've also learned a lot, and that it was like therapy. And so from all different aspects, it's able to connect with others and make an impact. And
Yep.
so we keep on going. We keep being organized. We keep trying to keep it fresh and continue the realness of what's going on. And if that's to focus and discuss what's going on outside of TCC and outside of our workspace, then we incorporate that as well. Like I mentioned, that Dantrell and I talk a little bit in the beginning about what's going on, what we have coming up, and how we're feeling. And so this is kind of the theme that we've taken on with our different aspects of Real People, Real Stories. And so this is kind of like a chart that we've tried to utilize as a way to stay connected and keep things fresh and look back on. And so even if you look into the Padlet, I don't know, some of you may not have heard me as you were coming back on about, even on the Padlet, the little squares, they start to kind of change colors and they stay with the theme of our discussion and our purpose of Real People, Real Stories. And so we are excited to kick off with our Native American Heritage Month. And so that'll be actually the second week of November. So we have some great guests coming on to talk more and for us to learn more from our Native American community. And so that's always really exciting as well to be able to do that. Did I get it all, Dantrell?
Yeah, I think I would just add to that the next thing, in addition to Native American Heritage Month, is we have kind of dived into different hot topics. So if it's something that's very relevant that's going on in America today that maybe students need like a space to just kind of woosah or, make sense of their thoughts, that's something in the future that we are planning to incorporate within the schedule for Real People, Real Stories.
Yes, we got to start working on spring schedule.
Man, don't even start talking to me about spring. Yeah, so real quickly, and Kelsey, we probably need to just go ahead and dive into the specifics, because I want to get to the question and comment we had about utilizing it within the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So considering these conversation starters, so one of the things that we want to have you think about is when you're planning to have the dialogue with your students, or maybe create a platform to utilize this, is these are just kind of some of the questions that we wanted to share with you. So what is a strange occurrence you have experienced but have rarely shared? If you could give one piece of advice to yourself 2 years ago, what would it be? And so not saying you have to utilize these questions. However, these are some questions that we have used throughout our duration of this particular project. And so describe a time you learned something from a failure. And I think you are able to start seeing some great things. One of the things that I've learned through this process is the art of using videos. And so for some professors, and Kelsey will talk about this, and I apologize, I'm still in your thunder, but utilizing videos, essays, and so having a list of questions that students can choose from and then submit 3 or 4 minute videos, however, you want to receive those videos. And then, watching those videos with them answering some of these questions really touches your heart and gets you to see the impact that giving them the platform like this can have. So, sorry to steal your thunder, Kelsey, but that goes into the next slide.
It's okay. You're not stealing thunder. You're just making great transitions. And so really just trying to find creative questions where the students in your classroom can get to know each other. You probably have a discussion board at the beginning of the semester where it's like introductions and get to know your peers and go back and respond to 2 of them to say hello. And so what meaningful ways can you really connect with the students? Can you personally, like, how is it that you address your story and share that, you are a human being, that you do have a story, and you don't have to tell them everything, but in what creative way can you choose to connect with the students? And then how is it in the discussion boards or in the classroom? Are you incorporating that? How do you encourage, if you have a group project, for students to connect with each other? Are you able to pose some questions for them to get to know each other? Not the yes, no, and not the same questions that we ask, like, do you plan to transfer? If so, where? Like, asking different questions to get to know them, like the ones that we were sharing on the previous slide. Something that they can hopefully connect with. And so that's maybe using discussion boards. Maybe it's creating the Padlet and having the students add their video, and then they're able to connect and respond to those. What do your assignments look like? Like I mentioned, the group activities, utilizing Blackboard Collaborate, or creating your own social media for you as a staff member or faculty member. How is it that you want to engage with your students that you connect with, maybe on social media? And if that's having a separate account from like the ones that your friends and family are with, and you have one that's for your students. But in reality, it's very hard to do that. Like, this is our life, and this is my my Instagram is what you see is what you get, and I choose what to put on there, and like I said, it's a lot about the dog, and it's a lot about food, but
It's a lot about the dog.
And so, having that, but it's a way to connect. And so I kid you not, like when we have events and students pop on, they're like, hey, so where's Ella? Or what's she doing? Or if she shows up, everybody's like, oh, there's Ella. Hey, Ella. And so it's just connecting with people. And how do you choose to do that? And how do you want to develop that community in your classroom? And so those are just some general ideas on how to be a little bit creative, or maybe have a once a week session where on your Blackboard Collaborate, you bring on a student and you interview them, and that's how you get to know the students in the classroom and connect with them. And so there's just a variety of ways to do that. I'll tell you that I believe it's called We Connect. That's where I'm able to find some great open-ended questions that really are thought-provoking. That's where some of the questions on the previous slide came from as well. I believe it's called We Connect, but they have some great questions that they put together to help encourage and engage your audience, even in the virtual world. I started that in the face-to-face, but translated it to online.
Yeah, I always feel like we're rushed when we're doing these presentations, but to add, one of the things that you can use for your classrooms is you could have your students search on social media. They're always watching different videos. And so you can say, hey, find me the top 2 videos that you've watched this past week. And then they can, come to class and share the reason why they watched it or the reason why they've viewed it. Or you can pick a topic and say, hey, go out on social media and find a video that represents this topic, from you, or you can word it however you want to, but there's multiple ways. And so we apologize. We're having to rush through this presentation. We never have enough time for it, but these are just some last minute quotes. I always end my presentations with quotes. And so what better way to have students and staff share with you some of the quotes and takeaways from different things that they've shared with us. And so I'll just read one. Being a first generation college student is difficult, so I'm very grateful for my higher education mentors which in that episode was from Adrian, who's a student, and very, very powerful. And so, with further ado, we have like 1 minute left. So, any questions?
I think that part of it too is just, you know, finding your theme and what do you want to get to know about the students and how you can best assist them and connect them with each other.
Yeah,
I see there might be a question.
Yeah, this is really helpful. Thank you so much. Yeah, I will ask my students to go explore. Like I haven't, so I'm sure there are some of our students also not being exposed. Like when you are by yourself and you have hard time, just watching an interview is going to just change and then like change your mood for the time, and maybe you get inspired and motivated and get back to do an assignment. So yeah, I will share this information with my students, and thank you so much. And thanks for the week connect, because I always struggle with the open-ended question. Teaching biology, sometimes it's like you always go with closing questions. But thank you for that. I'm sure that's going to be helpful for me. Thanks.
Oh, good.
All right. You both have a great afternoon. Thank you for your time.
All right,
Thank you. You too.
Thank you all for coming.